Okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today. This is a great day for the town of Sterling, Sterling Light Department, the ratepayers of Sterling, and for everybody. Bringing this storage project to Sterling has been a long 2.5 years. I think we're approaching 2.5 years. So I want to thank everyone for attending. We've got a few speakers to go through today. Maybe if we get time at the end, we'll throw some questions out, but right now we're just going to run through the agenda. I'd first like to introduce the chairman of my board, Matt Stelmack, to say a few words.
Thanks, Sean, and thank you all for joining us. It's a pretty important day here in Sterling. I just wanted to start to give a shout out to my other board members, Brian Pierce and Joe Curtin, and I think we have an ex-board member, Mike Rivers, over there. Just without a board like we have, we couldn't do projects like this. So thank you, guys. All right. I saw the list of speakers, so I'm going to cut this way down. And what I want to point to here is a couple of things. You know, I could stand up here for hours and talk about Sean Hamilton, but I think most people here know that we're blessed to have him in Sterling. So I just want 1 second, please, for Sean. I'm not going to, I really literally could go on and on and on, but I won't. Google him sometime. It'll be interesting what you see. And speaking of Google, really what I wanted to talk about was Sterling and what we're doing here at the Light Department. Sean and I were fortunate enough to be interviewed back in June by Public Power Daily. So if you want to know what's going on in Sterling with the Light Department, read this article. It talks about our AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure Initiative. It talks about this project, of course. It talks about the solar projects in town. It talks about our GIS initiative, all the progressive things that we're doing here. So do read that. It's a long article, I'll warn you. But I'm going to cut right to the end and just read my favorite part because it's my quote. As for the question of what may be the next big thing for the utility to take on, Stelmack noted, at first, I thought being a small utility was going to hurt us in being aggressive, proactive, and progressive. But it turned out to be the opposite, okay? Small, lean group, like-minded board members, progressive thinking manager, and with the backing of this community in Sterling, I think we can do anything. And that's what I told them. I didn't point to specific projects. We're talking about them all the time. We'll do something big again, but we're here to celebrate this initiative today. And I'd like to just leave it at that. I really think that with the dynamic that's going on here in Sterling, we got something special, and we're very proud of it, and everyone should be proud of it. This is a really big deal. I get asked at what I call my other job. Kind of gets hazy of which is my real job sometimes. But what's the big deal? And what we're doing is a big deal. Thank you.
That was close. I'd like to invite John Kilcoyne up, chairman of the board, to come up and to welcome everyone to the town of Sterling. Thank you, John.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, Rich Lane, Maureen Cranston, I just want to thank everybody for being here today in the town of Sterling at this new Sterling Senior Community Center, which just opened very recently, October 2nd, officially. So, as Matt said, there's an awful lot of good things going on here in Sterling, and we're very proud of them. We have a good list of speakers who know a lot more about this project than I do. But I will say this, Sean's been here a long time, and I know the people in Sterling are very proud of Sean Hamilton, our general manager, what he's done for our town, and the Sterling Light Board. Matt, Brian, Joe, and Mike, who was there before. They've been on top of these clean energy initiatives for a long time. They do it very quietly in the background. This was almost a surprise to me when I heard about it a few weeks ago. But it's a terrific project, and Sterling's very proud to be a recipient of this grant money and the project is going to take place. So I really just want to thank everybody again for being here. I just kudos, as I say, to Sean Hamilton. He's been a terrific general manager, and his light board as well, and his staff. And he saved the ratepayers of Sterling a lot of money, and that goes to everybody's hearts. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Sean for the next speaker. Appreciate it.
And now I'd like to introduce Matthew Beaton, Secretary of the Energy and Environmental Affairs, the state of Massachusetts, one of the many organizations we're working with on this project. You may have heard my name twice, but it's a collaborative of a lot of people and a lot of effort by many different departments and people, and Matt's one of the team. So please, Matt.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you all for the opportunity to be here on for all the energy geeks in the room is what is really an exciting day. You're going to hear a lot more about the project and why it is such an exciting day, but I just wanted to start off with Sterling for a second because I'm like an honorary son, I think, because, let's see, I had breakfast at Meadowbrook Orchards last weekend with my kids. I get my Christmas tree every year at Evergreen. I get our pumpkins every year at Clearview. My kids basically live at Davis Farmland. I got my first ice cream of the year at Rhoda Spring. I learned to fly fish on the headwaters of a river that starts right here in the Stillwater River. The list goes on and on for me of all the reasons why I personally love Sterling, and that's more sort of on the environmental side of the hat I get to wear at Energy and Environmental Affairs. And now today I get to look at Sterling proudly again, a town that I love that's only a little bit north. I'm from Shrewsbury, so I get to zip right up here. I had breakfast at Over Easy this morning, and I love that place. A little plug. Anything else I can plug for the town? I think I got most of it. But in all seriousness, this energy project is something that is really put the spotlight on Sterling once again because it is. I heard a stat from one of our folks, Tony from DOER, on the way over that we're functionally doubling the amount of storage in the Commonwealth with this project. And at a time where storage is moving at such a rapid pace and is really just going to be one of the keys to unlocking our ability to transition into a more renewable, cleaner facility as we adapt for a changing climate. It ties in with so many initiatives that we're pursuing in the Baker-Polito administration, most recently with the governor's signing of an executive order relative to climate change. And this project ties in perfectly. And a lot of folks, you hear about batteries and you hear about storage. What does that have to do with climate change? Well, it has everything to do with climate change because it's getting us ready it's building up resiliency and backup to make sure that when we do see the effects in intense storms come and bring power outages and things of that nature as an effect of climate change, we are ready, we are adapted, we've made ourselves more resilient. And projects like this is going to be a project that is replicated in a number of places over time. And I can't commend Sterling enough for the great innovative work and the leadership and the hard work, especially to be the first actor on something of this scale, this grid scale type of a project. Is just, hats off to you guys. This is amazing. You did an amazing job, and I'm very proud to be able to be part of the team through Commissioner Judson's leadership at the Department of Energy Resources to assist in a small way. Not so small way. I think it's a pretty sizable grant program through our Community Clean Energy Resiliency Initiative grant program to be able to partner with the community of Sterling to see this project to fruition. So thank you all again for the great opportunity to be here for what is a truly exciting day. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Before I introduce Judith Judson, I will say a few words about the DOER 2 weeks ago, I was in Washington, and I was at the iStorage Peer Review Summit. Dr. Imre Juk, who's present today, holds a summit of seeing some of the brightest minds in the country. I heard words I never heard before, developing energy storage and where we're going to go in the next step. But the one common denominator, I sent her an email the other day, was, boy, you're lucky to have Judith Judson in Massachusetts right now, because this is the time for energy storage. And to have Judith Judson as one of your leaders to bring you guys to the next level, you couldn't be more fortunate. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of Sterling, and please. Come on.
All right, thank you. Well, those are very nice words to hear. So, as mentioned, I'm Judith Judson, Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, and I'm pretty excited to be here to talk about storage. And as the Secretary said, I think there's some other places I need to visit besides just the storage site. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting things here in Sterling. But, you know, it is a huge step forward. As said, this is really doubling the amount of storage we have operational in Massachusetts, and I think it's terrific that you're small and nimble and that you're embracing these new technologies, because they really will have a beneficial impact not only on your ratepayers but the entire Commonwealth. So I want to say thank you to Secretary Beaton. It is a pleasure every day to be part of the Secretary's team. To Dr. Juk from the U.S. Department of Energy, I want to thank Senator Flanagan, Representative Ferguson, and Representative Naughton for being here today to celebrate this, and of course Sean Hamilton and our hosts here at the Sterling Municipal Light Department. We really are proud to be part of the project, but it's you who are getting this done. This project represents the next steps forward in ensuring Massachusetts has a clean, affordable, resilient energy future, and that really is our goal at DOER in everything that we do. We're pleased to have awarded $1.46 million in grant to the Sterling Municipal Light Department for this project, and that was part of our Community Clean Energy Resiliency Initiative. That initiative is a $40 million initiative meant to ensure that our state and regional electric grid has the resiliency it needs to withstand the effects of severe climate or weather events. And this project, which is 2 megawatts, 3.9 megawatt hours, builds upon a feasibility study that was funded in the first round of that grant initiative. And really, that study demonstrated that storage is possible, that it's here now, and has the potential to benefit the community. And in addition to providing grid services, it also provides critical backup power for the Sterling Police Station, and that's both a resiliency benefit as well as grid services that have the potential to save ratepayers. So we're pretty excited about it, and we're excited about storage. We launched last year an energy storage initiative. We recently released the first part of that initiative as a study. The second part is funding for demonstration projects. But we recently released that study. We call it State of Charge, which we think is a good name for it. But what the focus of that was to really look at opportunities to where it's cost effective to deploy energy storage, and also look at opportunities to support our local clean tech industry and local storage companies. And it's great to see that this project is here in Sterling, but it's using NEC Energy Solutions, which is headquartered not far from here in Westborough, Massachusetts. So this is a great collaboration of how we can benefit our grid and we can grow our economy in Massachusetts. The biggest takeaway of our study is that storage really can be a game changer. It can be a game changer for how we integrate more clean, renewable resources into our grid. It can be a game changer for how we manage peak demand and increase the overall utilization and efficiency of our grid. And it can be a game changer for how we manage in terms of storms or events and how we add resiliency to our grid. So all of these potential applications have the benefit of really moving our grid forward, providing for a future that will provide additional benefits and meet that mission of clean, affordable, resilient energy future. So thank you again to the Sterling Municipal Light Department, to Sean Hamilton for your leadership. Your embracing this technology is truly visionary, and it really is an early project in Massachusetts that I think many other cities and towns will look to. And today's milestone would not have been possible without a seamless partnership of all the organizations you see up here. And DOER has really been pleased to be a part of this group, working with DOE, working with Sterling Light Department, and working with all of the different groups that are actually getting this project done. And this really is an example of how innovation on the local level can have a ripple effect of benefits across the Commonwealth by encouraging growth and innovation in Massachusetts' clean energy economy and by helping all ratepayers. So we look forward to continuing to work. I can't wait to see the project in the ground. Oh, that's good. and having it up and operational and seeing more of these projects to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. As I look around the room, I see a lot of my fellow managers here. There's your next projects. So pay attention, guys. This is your next project, so we can get it done. Before I begin introduce the next speaker, I'll say a few words about him. He's thought of as, to me, as Mr. Storage. When I mention his name to anyone, everyone, no matter where you talk in the country, knows him, or knows about him, or knows about storage, or knows he's related to storage. He is the leader in storage. He has been for many, many years. I attended, again, that conference a couple weeks ago and listened to what he's working on around the country. And there's 30 to 60 projects. You probably have more that I heard about. He's going to change the face of electricity in the near future. It's changing it now, but it's going to be even more. And it's almost like you don't want to get out of the gate too early, because what's behind the gate is he's bringing some fascinating improvements to the industry. And I look forward to see what your team comes up with next. Without further ado, Dr. Imre Gyuk. Sorry. That last name. Thank you.
There we are. Well, hello. This morning, as I was driving to Sterling from Boxford, I had 2 hours of glorious New England fall. There is no better season here, and it probably is the best way to see fall anywhere in the States and perhaps in the world. So the leaves are turning, but there is more changing here than leaves. Here in Sterling, you are creating the utility of the future. Electricity will not only move in space over wires, electricity will move in time through storage. So you're combining space and time here. Here in Massachusetts, Commissioner Judson has created a resilience initiative, and 11 municipalities have taken up the challenge to build microgrids with energy storage. In Sterling, this will mean the police department and the police station and the dispatch center together with 3.4 megawatts of PV and all the control structure and mechanisms in between. Now, the way it works is if there is an emergency, then the microgrid can island, and whatever is inside the police station will be able to function, at least with mission-critical characteristics. People can go there and use the telecommunication and whatever, and the stability of the structure of the city will be maintained. Well, most of the time there won't be an emergency. So during those times, the system is open, and the PV will provide green energy to the city, and the storage will provide services again, to the city in terms of demand charge reduction, frequency regulation, integration of renewables, all kinds of good things that will ultimately save money. My program at the Department of Energy is most proud to have the opportunity to be adding our bit to the initiative and help with a little money, but mainly with the expertise of the national laboratories who have done projects of this kind before. And we will help to create a modern microgrid here in Sterling. We are, of course, working with other communities in Massachusetts as well, notably Northampton, Holyoke, and Cape and Vineyards. But in doing so, we have produced a manual on how to put in storage solicitations, which will benefit not only the other townships in the area, but people around the country. And it's available for free on the internet. Our people will work closely with Sean to establish the business, a business case and optimizing the system. Anyway, we are proud and happy to take a small part in what is essentially Commissioner Judson's and Sean Hamilton's show. And the show is Creating the Future in Sterling. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Need this on a better swivel. Next speaker is Congressman James McGovern could not attend today. So he sent us Eladia Romero. How'd I do? Okay, all right. Please, for the governor. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Congressman McGovern sends his regrets that he's not able to be here today, but he did ask that I read a brief statement and let you all know that he is here in spirit today. So he just wanted me to let you know that he sends his congratulations to the town of Sterling and all of those who are involved in making this historic project a reality. He says it's his understanding that the new clean energy storage project is the first of its kind in Massachusetts and one of the largest of its kind in New England. It's his further understanding that the new energy storage system was made possible through funds from the Mass Department of Energy Resources and the U.S. Department of Energy, and says he's always thrilled to see state and federal funding going to projects that benefit and support communities like Sterling. So he says, this project provides significant economic benefits to the town of Sterling, but more importantly, ensures that our first responders are able to receive emergency calls during times of crisis, which is critical to the safety and well-being of the residents of this community. That's why I fully support this project and look forward to its completion by the end of the year. Today in this room, we have a diverse group of leaders who all have a stake in shaping the future of energy in the state. I believe that this innovative clean energy project is an example of what will help move us closer to a future of cleaner and more sustainable energy. I hope that we can continue to work together to ensure that other communities follow Sterling's lead in creating additional clean energy storage projects. I applaud and congratulate everyone involved in making this project possible. Congressman McGovern.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Representative Kim Ferguson. Kim, as many of our legislators, have been very supportive with any project we do, because I usually start with them. And just so you know, if you hear from somebody, they hear from me first. I let them know, here's what we're embarking on, so in case you hear something around the State House or something else, yes, it's us, yes, we're making noise, and yes, we're trying to get more money. So always very supportive of us anytime we're looking for help. So, Kim, please.
Thank you. I will be very brief and yield some time, obviously, to my other fabulous legislative colleagues that are here. But Sean, thank you for your kind words. And, you know, the benefit, I guess, of going further down the line in speakers is that a lot of great things have already been said that I don't need to echo today. But I want to say that I am very, very proud to be here to have part in this celebration. And I know everyone in this room realizes it, but for the people that maybe are going to read about this in the paper or see it on TV or however they're going to hear about it, it is no easy undertaking to get something like this done. And when you look at all the partners that had to come together, again, it is not easy. I'd like to thank the secretary and the commissioner for their support. Obviously, without them, we couldn't get this done. But really to Sean and the Light Department for your leadership, and to the town of Sterling, because, you know, we're very proud of this today, and I'm really glad to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Senator Jim Flanagan, another representative, I actually drive over to Leominster periodically to keep her posted on what we're doing and try to stay with our local legislators so they know what we're doing before they read it in the paper. Always informed, always knows what's going on with us, and she's like one step ahead of me, and sometimes it worries me that she knows as much as she does about what we're doing. So, and please tell them how you know.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for being here today. I think part of why I keep updated on what goes on with many of these organizations is because before I was sworn into office, I had the ice storm of 2008 to contend with. And when you have cities and towns without power for 14 days before Christmas, and you see kids in shelters writing wishes on Christmas trees saying, I just wish we had electricity, or I just wish we could do what we do, and then being in the emergency operations center of the Fitchburg Fire Department in the basement with not very good cell service, you always want to make sure we have enough power. You want to make sure there's enough energy in a time of crisis. So I really want to thank Sean, and I want to thank his crew. 2.5 years is a long time to be on a project, and to really make sure that a small town of Sterling comes forward and is the first in the state is just amazing. You know, I'm very fortunate to represent North Central Massachusetts. You know, my family comes from Sterling over on Flanagan Hill Road, and we've had lots of history here, but really to see the people today work so diligently together, the federal government, the state government, I can't thank the secretary and the commissioner enough. Things do get done in Boston. Things get done bipartisanly. We want to do what's good for the people of Sterling. We want to make sure we do right by the people of Massachusetts. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for allowing us to be a small part of it.
Thank you, Senator. And our other representative, Harold Naughton, again, I go down to his office periodically, we sit down, especially when legislative issues come up that we may not agree with, not with him, but with others. I'm first to go cry on his shoulder and ask him for his help, as I always do, and he's there for us all the time wherever we need him. And Harold, here you are. Okay, please.
Sean, thank you, and thanks for your continued leadership on this that has gone on for years and years, all the different projects that I've been proud that you've included us in, you've talked to us about from the start, the progressive, in the best sense of that word, leadership that this town and you have shown, which is demonstrated another way in this beautiful senior facility that we have right here. It shows a lot about the character and the integrity and the personality and the chutzpah of the people in this town of Sterling to step up like this. The template you've created, and I'm proud to be here with all of these stellar partners in this organization, to be here today from the template that you've created shouldn't just be followed here in Massachusetts, but nationally. You have public, private partnership from the global to the local, and local, state, and federal partnerships here. That's a template that other entities, other energy entities that I wish some of our political parties would follow on a broader basis. That is something that can't be recreated without people like those that we have in this room. It means a great deal to us. But, you know, I serve as the chair of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee in the House. And I, too, remember the ice storm. I remember riding around all of my towns on that weekend and for weeks thereafter. And to build up, you know, you talk about clean energy, you talk about resilient energy, and you talk about local energy. To have that resiliency, all we need to do, we don't even need to look back to the ice storm. All we need to do right now is look down in North Carolina and what they're trying to do to get themselves back online. And that'll be weeks and weeks and months, whereas we can look forward to if we have to have one of those natural disasters again or some other disaster, we will be at the forefront because of your leadership here. And I'll make a last very personal point on the clean energy and the local independent energy. As one who has had to deploy on numerous occasions to various parts of the world to fight on behalf of this country in conflicts that, quite honestly, are somewhat driven by this country's energy policy. Anything we can do to prevent that in the future means a great deal to me, that we can prevent any further need for conflict. And much more personally, as I have at least one son who's following in my footsteps, it means that much more to me. So thank you for what you're doing here. It's very personal. Take care.
Thank you, Representative, and thank you for what you do. Next speaker, when you start a project like this, there's a lot of ends out here, and you got to kind of pull them in together. And we reached out to a variety of people over the past 2.5 years to get this thing pulled together. And one of the nucleuses of that whole group was Todd Alinsky Paul, who led us to Sandias, who introduced me to Dr. Imijuk. And throughout the whole thing has been the central guy that we lean to for communication, whether it's reaching out, getting in contact with someone else, getting it through Sandia or others. He's been a great help to this project, and I want to thank you. And please come on up, Todd.
Thanks, Sean. I'm Todd Alinsky Paul. I work with Clean Energy States Alliance in Vermont. So many of you probably never heard of us, but we are a small nonprofit, and we work with states primarily, also with municipalities, with the federal government, with the national labs, and we support clean energy work all over the country. We are fortunate enough to have a contract with Sandia, funded by Dr. Juk at DOE, to work with DOE and states to put together joint energy storage demonstration projects, such as this one. And we're also fortunate in that we have our sister organization, Clean Energy Group, has support from the Barr Foundation to do work on resiliency in Massachusetts. So those two sort of forms of support and resources come together in this project. I want to just say that Massachusetts, with the leadership of Judith Judson and the governor and others in the state, has really leapt out ahead in energy storage. As I said, we work with states all over the country. And what we've seen just in the past couple of years in Massachusetts is real leadership in storage and resiliency, both from a standpoint of policy, where the recent energy storage study that came out from DOER and Mass CEC has really put forth the most comprehensive set of policy recommendations as well as analysis on energy storage that we've seen from any state, and in terms of resources, both from the point of view of the resiliency initiative that funded this project and from the point of view of other initiatives such as energy storage funding that's just about to hit the streets in the form of an RFP very soon. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know that one of the last people standing between you and lunch, but I wanted to say one additional thing about this particular project, which is it's a demonstration project. What does it demonstrate? Well, the technology, of course, the application, of course, with resiliency supporting the police station, but critically, it really will demonstrate an economic case for energy storage. And I'm not going to go into any details. There's a very interesting report being produced by Sandia that should be out soon that goes into all the details of that economic case. But I'm just going to say that this is really laying the groundwork, and I think that once that case gets made by this project, you will see a lot of other projects in New England that will follow in the footsteps of Sterling, because this is not only providing benefits in the form of resiliency, it's also providing ratepayer benefits and grid services that are valuable. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to turn it back over to Sean, and thank you.
Todd just mentioned Sandia National Labs, who we partner with during the RFP process. That took us almost 3 months to develop, and that was a lot of work by a lot of people. There's a couple of gentlemen that were instrumental in getting that done, building the case, business case for these type of projects, and Ray Byrne, who's not here today, but also another person very instrumental with his knowledge of these storage projects, who gave us a lot of information, technical support, and is here to speak about today. Dan Bonio?
Thank you, Sean. I guess this will teach me to look at the agenda before I arrived, because I didn't know I was speaking until I walked into the room. So no prepared statements, but I want to thank Sean for having us up here. And one thing is, when Sean says, well, we're going to have a groundbreaking, so when should we have it? And me coming from New Mexico, but born and raised in the Pittsburgh area, I said, well, that's obvious, October. And so, Sean, thank you very much, because you made it in October, and echoing Emery, it's like, wow, this is really, really beautiful up here. 90% of the time I come up here, it is picture perfect like this, and so I just amazed. So anyway, so about the project, this is going to be the poster child project for Sandia Labs and for the DOE Office of Electricity. I run Dr. Zook's projects program, and so what we try to do is proliferate energy storage by doing projects, rolling up our sleeves, working with the people, working with the states, working with the utilities to understand energy storage and get it in the ground. And this project, we have been welcomed with open arms to develop the RFP, to get into the design, to get it built. We'll get off, and once it's built, we'll get the data from it. And from the data, that's what's in it for us, right? We participate by putting in some money. Dr. Zook puts in money. And what's in it for us is the fact that we get this data. We get to learn. We get to see how it works, how we can improve it. And we're going to keep proliferating it down to the next project, to the next project. And Sterling, Sean, and Scott Reynolds, they have been instrumental in really welcoming us on the project and really helping us be part of it. So thank you very much.
I'd like to bring up Bud Collins from NEC to say a few words about the project and the technology he brings to Sterling. Our partner now is just up the road about 20 minutes, so it's nice. If they don't answer the phone, we can just go get them. So we know where they are. So, thank you.
Sean, thank you very much. It was about 2.5 years ago. Jim Frawley, our sales guy, said, we've got a local utility that wants to come in and talk to us about storage. And I said, really? Here we are running around the world trying to arm wrestle, major utilities and utility commissions with Judith and Dr. Gook doing the same thing, trying to get them to understand that energy storage is really the key to our future with energy and renewable energy. And here's the town of Sterling. It was amazing. And 2.5 years ago. So there's 140 people in Westboro, Massachusetts that are really, really happy that this project has come together. And I'd like to thank everybody here that's participated in this for making this happen. I'd also like to reach out and thank Jim Frawley, who's struggled with pancreatic cancer over the last 2 years. He's not here today, but he's listening. So thank you very much.
Okay, the next speaker is me. Bud just touched on Jim Frawley, and he's infectious is the word I'll use for him, because when you met Jim and you started talking about batteries, how do you make a battery sound exciting? He did. He walked in thinking, only thing I knew about batteries, make sure you put them in the right direction, the flashlight works. When I left there, Matt and I were discussing on the way back, this could work. It was being number one in the country for having solar watts per customers 2 years was both a blessing and a curse. I say the blessing because on the bright sunny days when the solar is producing, it's fantastic. On the peak days when the thunderstorm comes or the cloud covers over, it's not so good. It's those days that you wish you either had a wind turbine to blow the clouds away or storage to preserve what you needed at that particular time. And now, thanks to the work of pretty much everybody in this room, we'll have that. We'll be available with that, especially the work of Commissioner Judith and Dr. Juk over here. I can't say enough for what you're doing for the town of Sterling. The ratepayers are the ones that will benefit, and everybody knows me. It's 37 years in the industry. I've always worked for the ratepayers. That's who we work for. So a lot of these managers in this room, that's who we work for, is the ratepayers. And this brings not only a benefit to us, to the town of Sterling, but if we could be example to other towns to do the same thing and save and lower their rates, we want to do that. We partnered with MWIC, who helped us through the process of giving us some analysis, our bulk power provider, and it was fantastic the way they work with us and help us bring these numbers through. I pretty much had a speech, but it's interesting. That part of my speech has been touched upon, so thank you, everybody, for taking my speech away. But one thing I do want to point out is coming up November 9th is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is going to have a technical conference on energy storage. And one of the things that scares me is how are they going to treat it? Being from a public utility, we look out for the ratepayer and the best benefit the ratepayer, like I just said. I just want to make sure that energy storage doesn't get hijacked to become another way for a transmission company or a investor-owned or someone to just make money off of the ratepayers. I think someone said it best, we don't need another line item on the bill. We need to use storage behind the meter to use it to lower bills, to peak shaving, resiliency, frequency regulation. I think there's 7 major issues we could use storage for. And if we stay focused on that and don't let it get hijacked through the pressure of some of our bigger IOUs or investors, I think we'll be much better served. And I look to Dr. Juk, I look to Commissioner Judson and our legislators. I hope we can keep our finger on the pulse of what happens there throughout Washington and make sure that when it comes back to Massachusetts again, it hasn't changed. That was the end of my speech, by the way, because the other part had already been talked about. But more importantly, with this energy storage, the cost of Sterling's transmission, $583,000 in 2010. Going into 2017, we're going to budget $1.3 million. And just so you know, we're taking less energy off the transmission lines, but the transmission costs are going up. They get a 12 to 14% return on the projects that they do. I think they've settled it down to 10.54% or 11.54%. But when you see your monthly bill come in that they've spent $1.5 billion and they made $177 million, it's kind of tough when you got to pass that on to your ratepayers, especially when you're using less. Storage lets us out from that clutch. We can now become a little more independent, and I think that's what we want to do. Is make storage more valuable to all of us. So I look forward to the project. I want to thank everybody that's worked on this project. And I will, if 5 past, give me 5 minutes. I just want to personally thank the people involved in this project down the line. I'll get you eaten by 10 past, okay? If not, you can just get up and start. I know Secretary Beaton had to go, but working with the state agencies, everyone talks about how difficult it can be. It's not. You have to stay with them. You have to keep them informed. A lot of phone calls, a lot of follow-up come back to us. It's important that we recognize what each other want. Yes, I work for ratepayers. You work for taxpayers. Everybody says they're one and the same, and no, they're not when we're both going for the same pot of money. It's not quite that simple. Dr. Juk, with the work, I've mentioned many times the work he's doing. I'm excited about what's going to happen to the energy storage industry over the next few years because he's going to take it to a level that I think this project in 5 years we reset and we're off to a bigger world. And I think you're probably seeing that within your world itself. Our representatives from Congressman McGovern, Representative Kim Flanagan, Senator Jen Flanagan, and Harold Naughton, Kim Ferguson. Thank you. We reach out to you all the time. Nobody in this room knows how many times I reach out to them for all types of things and just say, we need your help. This isn't right. It's not the proper thing for the ratepayers. Because working together collaboratively is what I think what Sterling brings to the table. We're fortunate to have the board that we have. The board I have, Matt, Brian, Joe, and Mike Rivers previously, who understood the project and the need of the project. It's bring me a business case and we'll look at it. It's not just we're going to do it because it's sexy or it's the right thing to do. It's a business case, and with the work of Sandia and Rayburn, we made it a business case. It was very easy to make a business case and brought that forward. So their support has been fantastic. You don't do this job without the support of your of your board or your staff, because there's a lot of extra time running to Boston, phone calls, conference calls, submitting papers. There's a lot of that involved when you do a project like this. When your staff is taking care of everything else, it makes it pretty easy. It really does. And I'm fortunate to have the kind of staff that I do, whether it's the operations crew that runs seamlessly or the office staff that just takes care of things. It just makes it so easy for me to do my job. That makes I'm able to do these kind of projects. The town of Sterling as a whole, and you've heard it a couple times, this is a special town. There's something special about it. I don't live here, but I recognize it. From the building you're in today to fairly rebuilt school, they're doing work in the town halls. The selectmen, when I went to them for permission, because what hasn't been said here today is the grant was not to the light department. The grant was actually to the town of Sterling. And I went up to the meeting, the first meeting, and the chairman at that time, Bob Cutler, says, well, if they're going to give you $1.5 million, of course we'll sign it and you can have it. We'll do whatever you want to get that money in. So it's nice to have the support right off the bat. But not just that night at that meeting. I now met with the conservation, the building inspector, the electrical inspector. I met with all the boards in town. We have SLC TV filming this today. This is just an idea of the support that we get throughout the town from people when you go to them for something, the DPW, whether we're moving the transformer, you saw down the substation, they offered us the loader to move that stuff. And I think that's huge. That's what gets these projects going. It's not just we need to get something done and everybody's on their own. It's very collaborative. Everybody works together. Scott Reynolds, you've heard his name mentioned a couple times. I can't say enough about Scott. He has done a phenomenal job for us throughout this project. Hired as our OPM, kept him on through the project. His knowledge, his experience, and he runs them. He's as organized as anybody I've ever met. So, as much as my OCD kicks in on this side, he's on the other side, keeping everything lined up and in order. So we make a good team. Actually, it works out quite well. I start the fires, he puts them out. So to date, we're doing all right. So looking forward to continue working with Scott. I mentioned Todd earlier, the work he's done with CESA, Clean Energy States Alliance. And through the media, through the work, through the introductions, and through just collaborating with the webinars and the things like that, we've learned so much. We've learned a lot from him. I'm still going. I got 3 minutes left, just in case anybody else is watching the clock. We mentioned Sandia National Labs. Can't say enough about Sandia. I mentioned, you've heard Dan Borneo speak. We struck up a friendship over the phone before we ever met before. We're bantering back and forth, some of the long calls at the end, it got pretty interesting. But you could tell they were really interested in this project. They liked this project, and they wanted to be a part of this project, and they came on board. It's fantastic, just great to work with throughout the whole time and to date, and we look forward to continue to work with you, because not only are they here building the project, Sandia is here after this project's built to take the information that we can develop with them. We're a small utility. We don't have the manpower to take this information and make it work and look at it and analyze it the way it should be. Sandia brings that to the table for us. It's like having an extension of Sterling with the knowledge and the manpower they have, and it's going to be a fantastic marriage between us. I look forward to that. Mike Barrow's not here today. Worked on the project design. When you do a project like this, again, there's a lot of design work, and where's it going to be? You saw some paint in the ground. You saw some conduit and transformers and all that laying around. His design pulls this all together to one place to make sure that the project's going to work correctly. He's done a great job with us. I can't say enough about NEC. Since we started the contract negotiations, those are always fun. But if anyone's been in a contract negotiation knows they can go one way or the other. And this went the right way the whole time. We knew I work for ratepayers, they work for their business, and that's who they have to protect, and I have to protect the ratepayers. It took us 3 months to get the contract through, but never was it adversarial. Never was it anything more than just business, and that's how it should be. And Jim Frawley, he mentioned earlier, Jim was like I said earlier, Jim was the inspiration to catching on to this, and I understand they've taken very good care of him throughout his illness, and I want to thank you for that, because he's a friend. As we go forward, you see, we're just forming this relationship. I look forward to the future. What are they, as they develop, we're hoping they want a test site, bring it to Sterling, let's try it here first. And unfortunately, I didn't get to go to their other sites, because those were in Hawaii. I thought, if we sign up with NEC, then maybe we'll show you our other sites down in Hawaii. That didn't quite work out yet, but so his staff is probably really upset. Oh, we get to go to Sterling, not Hawaii now. So welcome to Appletown, staff. I reached out earlier to SLC TV. I asked them, made a phone call and said, would you mind filming this and taking some pictures and helping us out with the thing? And the answer I got was sure. Can you meet us over there now? And they're over here with the 3 or 4 of them together telling us what they need, how they're going to set this up, and how they're going to film this. And that's Maureen, in case nobody knows who that is. So, all right. Well, it's interesting because as I was going to close out, I was going to mention Maureen and the work she's done. I came here at 8 o'clock last night. Maureen was still here setting up. So I really appreciate the work you've done. She said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, setting this whole room up. She got the volunteers from the senior center that work with her, but herself to be here late last night. Not only she was selectman, she's dedicated to the town. She worked really great for us. I want to say a special thank you to you, Maureen, for taking care of this. Bob and Deb Burby outside, those will be your heroes in about 2 minutes when I let you go to go eat. I understand you want to let everybody go by table, which we'll dismiss in just a moment. And lastly, I'd just like to mention Jared Carpenter, one of the engineers I just reached out to. He reached out to me, I shouldn't say, during the technical part of the grant, which took almost 6 months to develop. He was there for me to help put all the information on the grant and do the work that I needed to do. And it was just great. I listed off these 20 people and the staff in the town, and I just will never say enough thank you to everyone that's in this room and everyone that's not even in this room that's helped us get this project. It's a great project for Sterling and our ratepayers. Thank you. So.